My name's Neil Owens, and this is GVV, Giving Voice to Values. Today we're going to talk about a case called the tax return. This case involves three people. The first person is Harry Kahn. He's the president of Purple Industries Incorporated. He, as we'll find out later on, might actually have a gambling problem as well. He's the client to a tax firm that is employing Brenda Sells, and she is the preparer of his taxes this year, and her immediate superior is the tax manager, Vincent Dim. She got called into his office after he received an angry phone call from Harry Kahn. Um, Harry Kahn was upset that they used an itemized deduction, particularly because of his gambling winnings, rather than using a standard deduction. Basically, as we know as accountants, if you want to declare your gambling winnings, well, you have to declare your gambling winnings one way or another. But if you want to offset those winnings by your gambling losses, you have to itemize your deductions. Harry wanted to use the standard deduction, but he also didn't want to have to declare that income. So what he was requesting of Vincent and Brenda was to use the standard deduction rather than the itemized deduction and omit entirely that those gambling winnings. So what Brenda was trying to do was the right way legally. And Vincent, her superior, was strongly urging her to change her mind and omit those gambling winnings. He gave her a day to decide, and that is where we're at. He also mentioned, as we see in this first question, that it would be a one-time occurrence. So with a one-time occurrence, a lot of the time that actually means it's not going to be a one-time occurrence. If you give way one time, it's going to happen again, which leads us to the question, should this one-time occurrence affect Brenda's decision? The answer is no. It shouldn't be affected by the fact that we can rely on Vincent that it's a one-time occurrence. Because even if it is a one-time occurrence, Brenda would be losing her integrity. She'd be opening herself up to legal prosecution. If she ever got caught with this, there could be repercussions. You can never really believe someone that's going to be a one-time occurrence, so chances are it's going to happen again, as we're going to see in another scenario. And if you think about it, if a lot of tax preparers were making these omissions, that would lead to tons of fraud, which would lead to other legal implications and potentially losing the potential and the possibility to even deduct those losses from your gambling winnings and just have to declare them as income altogether. So the next question is, how should Brenda, convince Vincent that what she has decided to do, which hopefully is the right thing, is the right thing? First thing is, what were Vincent's arguments and what should she use as her rebuttal for those arguments to be convincing and powerful in her argument? First, Vincent said it's a one-time thing, and then he said that to try to make her think it was kind of okay, he used the example of other people in the office, saying other people who are employed by me in the same situation have complied with my desires to omit these gambling winnings or do what the client wants, even though it may not be legal. In this case, it's not legal, definitely. Firstly, Brenda should point out that that's contradiction. If it was a one-time occurrence, there wouldn't be other staff members being put in this position. Secondly, she should point out to Vincent that the one client isn't worth the integrity of the entire company. To have a practice like this, people need to be able to trust you and know that you're a good person. If you make these decisions, all of that integrity goes out the window and leads you to future issues with finding clients because everyone will know eventually, one way or another, people will find out that you might be doing unethical things for your clients. And that might bring in the wrong clientele. It might increase your profits, but at what cost? Thirdly, she should mention to Vincent that she doesn't need that extra day to make the decision. She doesn't need to come back in the morning because her decision's been made. She needs to be steadfast, don't move and flinch at the thought of maybe I can do this, maybe this is a good idea. She needs to be steadfast and stand her ground as to what her decision is. Um, which, and in our third question, if she makes that mistake, maybe she takes the night to think about it, decides her job's more important than her integrity, makes the mistake of complying with Vincent's requests, and omits all of those gambling winnings. The following year, her client wins another $4,950 in gambling winnings in a poker tournament. Since he won less than $5,000, he didn't receive a W-2G form, leaving no paper trail that there were ever any winnings. But she knew about the winnings, and he continued to ask her to omit those winnings, even though he should be declaring that as income. So in this situation, if she made that mistake, what does she do? And the answer is kind of simple. Don't make the mistake in the first place. Don't put yourself in this situation. Don't back yourself into this corner. But if she did back herself into this corner, she really only has two choices. Continue down that slippery slope of making unethical decisions, or leave the firm. She can't continue on with these mistakes. They will just continue coming over and over and over again. Like I said, one-time occurrences are never one time. So what we need to do is stay steadfast, know what we're going to do in these situations. Brenda should know. She shouldn't have to think about it, and she should just continue making those decisions firsthand now rather than later when it's going to be more costly. Thank you for listening.